Hello, did I lose the call? I'm not hearing anything.
I don't hear anything either.
No, I think Councilman Reeves lost his sound, but I'll get the meeting started. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah, I was just talking to Marvin. So yes, so it's anyway, so we well, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all here for coming out. This Monday, 3/20. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Today we do have Marvin and Aaron on from Fulton County Commissioner District 5. And so I call us the double nickel commission and then the city. And so we just want to hear from him and just all the good things that they got going on in Fulton County and how that relates. And he is the new Fulton County commissioner for this district as well. So when the maps did change, he became our commissioner. So he's here, and anything you have to ask for Fulton County, he's here to answer any and all questions. And what he cannot answer, I'm pretty sure that he will get back to you in a timely fashion. And so without further ado, Mr. Arrington, I want to just go ahead and give you the floor. You up. Marvin. Mr. Arrington.
I can't hear him.
Mr.
Yeah,
Arrington?
if he is speaking, we can't hear his sound.
Mr. Arrington, you're on mute. Unmute, try to unmute.
No, he's not on mute. Something is going on with his sound if he's talking. So you may want to call his phone and let him know that we can't hear him.
Okay, hold on.
In the meantime, while Councilman Reeves is doing that, let me give you an update that tomorrow we will be having the police, fire department, and code enforcement all in one place at the Burdette Gym tomorrow, 6 to 8 p.m. We'll also have the nonprofit Jacob's Healing Hands handing out fresh fruits and vegetables. So we are really, really looking for the community to turn out really big and support these events so they don't go away. This is our final installment for the 3-month series of safety and support to the community. So please come out. We also need people to come out and push for police support back on this side of town. So please make sure you tell your neighbors, your friends, everyone to come on out and let's make sure you do that. Alrighty, when Mr. Arrington is ready, he can try to unmute and we'll let him talk. I see his mic.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you all for having me. Glad to be here.
The floor is yours, Commissioner Arrington.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Marvin Arrington, your county commissioner for Fulton County, here with you this evening. I was actually driving over to Burdette Park because I thought it was live and virtual. So back, but certainly glad to be here. We've got a lot going on in Fulton County. The main thing I think that is going on right now is homestead exemptions are due by April 1st. And so we want everyone to pay their fair share of taxes and no more. And if you are a senior or disabled or a veteran or a surviving spouse of an officer, you may be entitled to homestead exemptions. Fulton County budget is about $1.3 billion a year, and 80% of that money comes from property taxes. So if you are a senior, well, first of all, everyone gets a homestead exemption if you are living in your home. And so that reduces your taxable liability.
It's a
Commissioner
really bad
Arrington, your,
connection. It's
yeah,
a
your
bad
sound is
connection.
going in and out. You may want to
And
pull over.
okay, so there are exemptions. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So at 62, there's an exemption. At 65, there are additional exemptions. And at age 70, there is another exemption. And so we want to make sure certainly that our seniors get to pay or get credit for all of their exemptions. And this year, there is in fact even an additional exemption for those, excuse me, for those that for seniors in Fulton County, there, I believe, is an additional $10,000 homestead exemption for Fulton County schools. And so that is $10,000 less that you would have to pay in taxes. And so I've been going around doing town halls, talking about the homestead exemptions. The deadline to file for them is April 1st for your basic homestead exemption, which anyone can qualify for. But even for the other exemptions, the deadline is April 1st. And there's an April 1st deadline every year. But this year, April 1st falls on a Saturday. And so you all will get the benefit. This year, it'll actually be April 3rd until 11:59. And so we have tax offices in South Fulton. You can take it over to Stonewall Tail. You can also go to Greenbrier Mall at the tax commissioner's office, tag office, as we all call it. And you can apply for your exemptions there. But the easiest way to do it is online. But certainly we still have in-person options available. But if you go to fultonassessor.org, fultonassessor.org, then you can apply online for any and all of those homestead exemptions which you may be eligible for. And so I guess that is the big thing that's going on. We did pass our budget at the end of January for this year. And, you know, we're actually also, we've got a lot of different things going on because there are, one, we're looking at building a new jail. The jail that we have is way past its life, and it is currently, I don't believe, as safe as it could be, not only for the inmates, but for the staff. Apparently, people are taking pieces and parts of the jail and using them as weapons. And obviously it's overcrowded and we've got people sleeping on the floor. City of Atlanta has provided some relief. They have a jail that holds up to 1,300 people, and they're currently allowing us to hold up to 500 people in that jail. and I believe that our sheriff is housing women and others there. So we've got the jail. We've also got a new animal shelter that we should be opening soon on Fulton Industrial, which is probably cost about $35 million, but it should provide a great new animal shelter for the county. And this Thursday coming up, well, tomorrow, in fact, I've got a town hall with Councilwoman Natasha Williams at Welcome All Park. And then on Thursday of this week, I've got a town hall with Councilman Willis and Sheriff Labatt and Chief Meadows. So we're excited about that. It's a public safety town hall. And so you can find more information about that on my Instagram or Facebook or website. And so we're excited about the things that are going on this year in Fulton County. And I guess I will stop there and take any questions that anyone may have or try to address questions, criticisms, comments, suggestions, recommendations. I take it all.
So, hey, this is, how you doing, Mr. Arrington? This is Loretta with the Buffington Park Association. I have a question I have a lot of older citizens who could probably benefit from the homestead. Is that the additional K, 10,000 K in particular, is that for anybody over 70 that will get that additional exemption? Exempt?
So the short answer is I do not want to give you any wrong information, but I believe the Fulton County exemption, and what I'll probably do is have to try to look it up before I give you some wrong information. Let me try to look it up before we get off the call and try to make sure we get you the correct information. I'm not
Okay.
sure of the age requirement for the additional 10,000, but
Okay.
I know that it is only available for those outside of the city of Atlanta in
Okay.
Fulton County.
Okay, so another question. I did my exemption when I brought my house. Do I need to renew that? Is that why we're doing it, because now that I'm South Fulton?
Okay, no, ma'am. So here's what happens. I believe there are 18 taxing jurisdictions in Fulton County. That includes the 15 cities, the county, the state. Well, that's maybe 17. I think I guess there's maybe a third one somewhere that I missed out. But so once you apply for your basic, you apply for your basic homestead exemption, you have that for the rest of your life. You never have to apply again. The only ones that you have to apply for are the ones with the different ages at 62, 65, and 70. So your
Okay, fair
basic
enough.
homestead
Okay.
exemption, you never have to reapply for that. You get that until you die.
Okay, just as we getting older, we have certain other exempts that we can benefit for or qualify for rather.
Yes, and you
Perfect.
have
Okay.
to at each age you have to apply to qualify for those additional 3.
Okay, I get you. Okay, thanks.
Let me ask a question for some of them. So the additional homestead, first of all, for people who don't have their homestead that live in their home, is it only if they get it when they first move in their home, or can they apply anytime?
So you can apply at any time, but you have to apply by April 1st of the tax year for it to count for that year. So if you moved into your house 5 or 10 years ago, never applied for the exemption, I would strongly encourage you to apply before April 1st to make sure that you get that if you never applied for the homestead exemption. So every year you get an opportunity to apply. But again, once you apply once, you don't have to apply again.
Next question, for those who are eligible at 62, 65, 70, and then you said at veterans get additional or not veteran?
So there are numerous different exceptions. So each city has its own exemptions. The county has a list of exemptions. And so there are multiple exemptions, and that's kind of the point I was making earlier. There's a lot to keep up with, right? So there is a surviving spouse homestead exemption for surviving spouses of police and firefighters who were killed in the line of duty. I believe that there are veterans homestead exemptions, and there are also homestead exemptions for those with disabilities. And, you know, that is just a partial listing of the exemptions. Typically, I have someone from the tax assessor with me to who is an expert and can really go through all that information and give it to you. But I'm going to try to pull up. They have a great fultonassessor.org with no S at the end.
We'll put it in the newsletter and send it to everybody tomorrow so they can look at it directly.
Okay, yes, perfect. And then okay, yeah, so you go fultonassessor.org and then go to exemptions on the menu, which is what I thought I just did, but okay, exemptions, homestead. And then the homestead exemptions guide. So let me see. That's really what we need, but it's only letting me download it. So let me see if I can get. Okay, copy link, and I should be able to hopefully add it here.
I have a couple questions in the chat. So just to make sure we covered them. If they previously filed and currently receive homestead exemptions, they're automatically signed up for the new year exemptions, but they do have to apply for the new entitlement exemptions, I guess was the best way to say that.
Yes, at each age, because they have to confirm that you're 62, they have to confirm that you're 65, and they have to confirm that you're 70. And I believe that there are, for some of those exemptions, there are also some income requirements, some low income requirements, or additional exemptions available based on low income. And for some of those to receive them, it has to be an income at a certain level, or your income has to be below a certain level in order to receive it.
All right, next question on, oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Reeves.
No, go right ahead.
All right, next question says, what programs are there for home repairs for seniors through Fulton County?
So we do have a minor home repair program through our senior services. I believe that they allocate up to $2,500 for minor home repairs for seniors. And so if there are any seniors that are listening, please make sure that you call Fulton County Senior Services or call my office and we can put you in touch with them, because we only allocate a certain amount of money each year. And so it's still early in the year, but you don't want to wait until November or December to make that call, because it's likely that those funds may be exhausted by November or December. But there certainly should be funds available now for home repair, for minor home repair for seniors.
There's another question. How many properties do Fulton County own? in the city of South Fulton? And do these properties have to adhere to the zoning of the city of South Fulton or the Fulton County?
I have absolutely no idea how many properties Fulton County owns, either in the city of South Fulton or outside of the city of South Fulton. I'm sure that we could get a list for someone that wants that information. I could certainly ask staff to track that information down. I guess, maybe inside the city of South Fulton or outside. But I just have no idea.
Well, let me piggyback off that question for a minute. So, because is it Fulton County that owns the property, or is it Fulton County Development Authority that owns the property?
I have no idea. Typically, I don't know. So Fulton County certainly owns property, I believe, all throughout the county, including some in the city of South Fulton, right? I have no idea what property the development authority might own, either inside the city of South Fulton or outside. Typically, the way the development authority works, they're typically looking for developments that are $10 million or more, and they look at providing a 10-year tax break for someone who may buy a property and, let's just say somebody's doing buying a property that has been defunct for the last 20 years, and there's been no taxes paid on that property in the last 20 years. And somebody's coming in to do a $50 million development. They'll waive the taxes for 10 years. And then at the end of the 10 years, by the time the person has put the $50 million into the property, typically the value of that property goes up. And so the idea is that you waive it for 10 years while it is low, but then you take advantage of taxing them later once the value of that property has increased. And so that is typically how the development authority works, but I have no idea how many properties they own, either in Fulton County or outside of Fulton County. I would be surprised actually if they actually own any properties. Typically, the development authority is there to help spur development. Now, there may be some cases where they may buy property or something in order to do that, but I'm unaware of any property ownership by the development authority.
Correct. So for clarification and edification of the public, thank you for that dynamic breakdown. And I'm gonna just give you a case scenario. There was a property in the city of South Fulton that was owned by Fulton County. And one of my colleagues worked with the commissioner over that area because the owner would have to change the property zoning of the future land use or what it would be zoned for to whatever would be ideal for that community. So this particular parcel was zoned one way, which would allow for apartments, just like CUP, and changed to like AG1, or I don't know, I forgot what it was exactly, but that's the scenario. But the owner would have to change that designation. In this case, the owner was Fulton County. So it would lead to be saying that if this district had parcel of land that was zoned a particular zoning and Fulton County owned that property, just say like if it was zoned for townhomes, but we wanted it to be used for AG1. You being Fulton County, I will work with you for the future land use map for Fulton County to restrict that zoning from CUP to AG1.
So I think inside the city of South Fulton that the city is responsible for the zoning, not the landowners. Like I mean, I guess an owner can apply to change their zoning or to have their property rezoned. But as far as the land use map and all of that, I mean, I think that's all on the city or any city
Correct,
to address.
correct. So to better suit the narrative and what I'm asking, I will give you the actual case scenario. So you'll see what I'm talking about is even though it's to meet our future zoning, we have our land use map because that's the city's prerogative. But if that zoning map is for a future land use that doesn't go with this particular parcel, they can change that to whatever the owner can change that to restrict it to be pretty much like deed restricted to be whatever restrictions they want to see. So any developer coming in would automatically know, even though this is in the city map, but this is parcel owned by the owner, that owner can change this to be deed restricted to be just this.
I mean, I think
So
the city could change the land use map, but I don't know
I'll give you
that the
I,
property owner can just change the zoning. The property owner can apply to the city to have the zoning changed, but I don't think the property owner can just change the zoning.
all right. I'm gonna send you the real case scenario so you can just dissect it of then we can have the narrative because this was actually done. So
Okay.
but we'll do that later on. Let's get to the
Yeah, but
more,
I'm sure that the county, if the city came to the county and said, hey, we want to change the land use map and, work with the zoning. I mean, we try to work with all of our cities, to help them in any way we can.
absolutely. And so we appreciate that as well. But go ahead, Tamika, with the next person.
Yes, we have another question that asks, hold on, I gotta scroll back up. Is there a plan B if the lawsuit against Wellstar closing hospitals in the Black communities fails?
Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry. It was about Wellstar.
Is there a plan B if the lawsuit against Wellstar closing the hospitals in the Black communities fails?
No, there is I don't know if there's a plan B. I mean, we just filed a complaint with the DOJ, Department of Justice, to investigate Wellstar for redlining. I wish we had done that before they closed. And I wish, I actually asked the county attorney, could we sue them because they're receiving federal dollars. I was asking, is there any way that we could sue them before they close to try to force them to stay open? And we never, county attorney advised that we could not do that. I see now that the state has filed a complaint against Wellstar, and now we are filing one. And, it kind of happened out of nowhere. And they told us when they were closing the one, in East Point, oh, don't worry, we're going to send everyone down to Midtown. The one in Midtown will be able to, all right. That everyone will be able to go to Midtown, right? And then 6 months later, they closed the one in Midtown. And so I don't know if it's racial profiling or not, or what it is. All I know is there are 8 hospitals north of I-20 and 0 south of I-20. in Fulton County. Even Grady Hospital is north of I-20.
Exactly.
Uh,
So
and yeah.
that's crazy.
This is Chandra. I wanted to piggyback on that as well. Is there anything in federal clauses and whatnot that could designate certain areas as critical access so that medical services can be provided, so that there is a physical hospital in the area?
So, I will say this. I have asked our team and the county team to look into this issue. I know that Councilmember Joshua Butler in the city of East Point is exploring the idea of a South Fulton Hospital Authority. And I am certainly supportive of that idea. The problem and the challenge, I believe, is that it's very expensive to run a hospital. And I don't know how much help they're going to need. I know we already provide a lot of help to Grady. I think about $40 or $50 million a year to help subsidize them. And so, it's going to be very expensive. One of the ideas that I was thinking about was maybe a county-wide hospital tax of, let's just say, $100 a person, right? The problem with that is I still don't think that's enough money to really help us, or, to fill the void, right? It's definitely not going to help us build 8 hospitals south of I-20. But it would at least be some pot of money, that we could use to help supplement hospital in South Fulton. And, I think the other idea is the possibility that the cities in South Fulton, let's say the county does a hospital tax of $100 per person countywide, right? Which means people in North Fulton would be helping subsidize this South Fulton Hospital Authority or hospitals in South Fulton. I think then the cities in South Fulton would likely have to try to find a way to match that in order to really get the money. And so then, all of that sounds good and easy, but now you're talking about 2 additional taxes on people, which never sounds easy and which may or may not be received well by people, right? But there's no excuse for us having to drive. If you're having a heart attack, you need to get to the hospital in 15 minutes or less. And you do not need to have to drive to Sandy Springs to get to the hospital.
Exactly.
Well, that's including the response time of the 911 operator call.
Oh,
Exactly.
goodness. Don't even talk about the response time. Look, I wasn't even including the response time. I was just talking about the drive time, right?
Right, exactly. And you know what? One thing you have to consider too, if we were going to match that $100, we're at least looking at everybody, or 80% of the, I'm just hypothetically, 80% of people on South Fulton making at least $95,000 a year. That's just minimum. That's just throwing a number out there to even try to maintain a hospital on this side. And we know, a lot of income, if you actually did logistics and survey, how many people can make that kind of money on our side of town for us to sustain that hospital? So you're right, we would have to get double tax in order for us to actually maintain that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then if it was $100 per person countywide tax, and then if the cities came back and did another $100 per person, now you're looking at another $200 per person in South Fulton. And some people might be able to afford that and some might not.
But is the income level, like, once again, is our income level across South Fulton, can accommodate that? And I mean, a lot of us know, where we live at and who makes, what money. And I don't think it could, I wish we could do it. I would be, glad to know that at least 95,000 minimum household could cover that. But can we say that, you know what I mean? As opposed to the north side of town, can we really say that?
Well, good deal. And so, but let me ask this because this question is kind of along the same lines, but it's also a transitional question that's going to transition to another area because we do lack hospitals, and that's a longer conversation and more detail. But the question I want to ask is that when you go to a hospital, and then as the doctors will say, eat more fruits and vegetables. And so when you go to the grocery store, you got to go to what section? The produce section. But I'm gonna say, what as the county have in place or would put in place to produce areas where lack hospitals, lack a lot of things, farmers markets, things of that nature, to produce funding for community people who have community gardens, local markets, so that we can get at least on a healthier, local, sustainable eating regimen, so you can kind of maintain good health. Is there anything on the county level that y'all doing for people who have community gardens on a healthier, more well-being lifestyle?
So I don't know if there's anything in specific that we're doing to help community gardens. I know that we have had some programs in the past, that address, I guess, what they call food deserts or food insecurity. But I think you're absolutely right, Councilman Reeves. The food deserts and the health deserts kind of track together. And, I think that, not only do we have food deserts in South Fulton, and I guess there's South Fulton and there's the city of South Fulton. So to me, South Fulton is anything south of I-20.
Correct.
And so we definitely have food deserts in South Fulton, but we also have healthcare deserts. And you are so right that those two things are tied together, and that's what leads to us having a longer life expectancy, right? And in particular, in South Fulton, it's not just a healthcare desert, it's more specifically a hospital desert. Because I think that, I look around, there are medical providers here and there, and doctors and dentists, and I guess a hospital desert is a healthcare desert. But, to specifically address the point, I think it's more hospital desert than overall healthcare desert, even though they're really one and the same. I guess it's like a square and a rectangle.
Correct. But so those things that, because I call it like, holistic approach from the hospital is one aspect of it, but the other things that go along with that, doctor visits and things of that nature. So that's the big fish. But what can we do out there to get those smaller fish, I guess, that's around the holistic approach, and that being putting those pieces of the puzzle together, with the hospital being the piece that will ultimately make that puzzle whole. What can we do to attract those outside deals around South Fulton to kind of build up and lead up to it in anticipation?
So, I heard this saying that no one can help everyone, but everyone can help someone. And so I think what we've got to do is, I think we need everyone needs to be growing their own garden. Imagine if everybody's front yard was a garden instead of some grass. Imagine if we were all growing our own fruits and vegetables. And I think we've got to have more of that discussion. And I know the county has led some efforts, like I say, regarding food deserts and regarding, you know, doing growing plants in rocks, right?
Absolutely.
And the ability to grow those plants inside during the winter when, you may not be able to go outside, or if you're a senior, you may not be able to do gardening like you used to or like you want to. And so I think part of it is, I think, doing what we're doing here, right? Having the discussion, right? Having the discussion as a starting point, and then at some point you have to, take that discussion and we've got to start implementing it. But I don't know that we'll ever be able to help everyone. But if everyone starts helping at least one person, I think that's the only way to help everyone is to have everyone help someone.
Absolutely, sir. And what I would call that is rooted affirmation.
Yeah. I had this is Chandra. I appreciate you tying in healthcare related issues and food insecurity issues. One question I definitely have, when you stated having everyone participate in growing their own food, there are people whom have the desire but don't have the resources to do it, or are physically unable to do it. So I would like to know what opportunities exist that is not talk service to help put community gardens within communities and help folk like me, for instance, whom have a desire to start a community garden, but know that it takes financial resources in order to do it.
Yeah, I think we could certainly look at that. I don't know that we necessarily have that in the budget for this year, but I know that there are some groups out there that work with different subdivisions. There's some groups that are there where they will come in and they will donate or dedicate a community garden inside of your subdivision for free. And I
Now,
have
what
to
if you
go.
don't live in a subdivision? Because I don't live in a subdivision. I'm in a community, but it is not a subdivision. And
Right.
you're talking about what I am alluding to, land availability in order to provide community gardens within various aspects of a city of South Fulton.
Right. So I know we have a community garden, or at least we had one over at oh goodness, at the South Fulton Tennis Center, over there behind the South Fulton Tennis Center, right? And I think that I don't know if that went to City of South Fulton or not, or whether it's still owned by the county or who's operating it, but it was done in conjunction with um oh the Georgia Agriculture Commission or something like that. I'm messing that name up right now. I can't think of
It's
it,
like
but
it's a 4-H club, sir.
yeah, the 4-H club, but it's another name. I can't think of it, but it is a state of Georgia thing, function. And so we had that one. I don't know if we still operate that or whether the city does now.
Well,
Okay.
let me just say this: pre-COVID, it was operational, and so it's no longer at this state of junction. Let me just say this, because still trying to get clear on that. But we're going to follow up with that as well. So, but I think that one of the questions, well, let me just say this, is what we can look into based on this conversation. Something that we can explore is when you said you could provide the list of properties or areas that Fulton County owns or has, to see if any of those properties within the city of South Fulton that Fulton County owns can Fulton County designate that space in whatever legal manner we can and put it in and give it to the city of South. Well, let the city of South have
Down for it.
usage of it for the basis of having a community garden or just a beta testing of that, I guess you would say. But that's a conversation that is, is just an idea right now, but it's something that is to think about and to come back to in the future.
I like the sound of that.
No, definitely. And I think that, we can certainly getting a list of the properties is easy. And if there are properties that are not being used, or we can map out a use for them, we can certainly, I would not have any problem going to the county asking that we donate, any land like that towards a community garden.
So how would this is Chandra again, how could I research properties owned by Fulton County that are here in the city of South Fulton?
No, he's gonna get that list and send it to us.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
we're not gonna make you do that work. We're gonna do the work for you.
Thank you.
And so,
See, he got Commissioner Poole. He can do that.
right.
Hey,
That's what I'm
that's
saying.
even
So it's
better.
like, and it's part of it. And I appreciate that. And let me ask this, is there any more questions? Because I do want to give him the opportunity to talk about something else off topic, but something that I think is noteworthy of speaking of.
I have another one.
Huh?
I have a quick comment to Sheila for the community garden. I'm not sure if you guys mentioned this, but there is a huge one off of Lakewood, and it's I want to call it the bonfire. And you can also reach out to that community and they can let you know how they started it and how they continue to maintain it. And it's over 5 years old.
Absolutely. And not only that, but they'd also give fresh vegetables away to people and organizations who will come get it in bulk to distribute out there locally as well. I know exactly what you're talking about. We also have one off of Herschel Road, right at the end of Highway 279 in Herschel, Camp Truett, and they have a Chappelle is a master gardener over there who oversees that, and you can kind of rent some lots as well. So but to your bonfire is the name of it as well. So that's a very good organization. But so if there's no more questions or comments, I do want to
I have one more.
Huh?
I have another one. The question about the land use, is there also an opportunity for nonprofits to work with you on the land? Like maybe to work on doing something for housing or rehab a house for the community usage?
The short answer is potentially, right? I mean, I never say no. A lot of good nonprofits out there doing a lot of good work. I would say, I think that, we just have to make sure everything aligns. The biggest thing for us is, at a point like this is, okay, well, what's the budget and where would the funds come from, right? And so that's why it's always real important every year. And we try to get out and ask people for their input on the budget because it's your Fulton County budget. And so, we're looking for your input. I was able to get $500,000 added for summer job program in South Fulton, right? And we've done that virtually every year since I've been elected for summer jobs for teens. And so, during the budget time, it probably would not be too challenging to ask for some money for that, right?
When is that timeline?
It's already passed. It happens every January. And
Be
so
those, everybody, remember this, every January, Fulton County has budget input. So just mark, when you think of MLK, think about Martin Luther King Green Day, think about input and budget time for Fulton County.
Yeah, and frankly, we could start in November, December, because that's when they start giving us the draft budgets and all of that stuff, right?
So for 3 months, November, December, and January, y'all have input on the budget process of Fulton County. I just wanted to denote that because there's a lot of things that go on in November, December, and January, and people will forget, but we will make sure that that's a whole quarter. And so we will make sure that, and in fact, yes, it's a whole quarter that leads into it. So I just we're going to remind people, because we have an election this year, then you have Thanksgiving, Christmas, of course, the New Year, MLK Day. There's a lot of things happening where people tend to forget, but we're going to just remind people that those 3 months you do have for the budget input. Thank you for that question too, as well. But let me give Commissioner Arrington these last moments here to talk about something that's near and dear to him and something that I support, because we're talking about bringing it to a Friday. We are going to bring it to a Friday Night Live series. And I just want to give him the opportunity to talk about Bowlegs and everything that it has done from start to finish. And so, very interesting story. So, Ms. Arrington, would you mind just speaking about that?
No, happy to. Thank you for bringing it up. I produced a documentary on my father, Marvin Arrington Sr. His nickname was Bowlegs because he was very bow-legged. And he was born in at Grady Hospital, grew up in the Grady Homes projects, went on to integrate Emory Law School along with Judge Clarence Cooper, and sued the state bar of Georgia because they were not letting Black people, or not allowing Blacks to be admitted to the state bar and to become lawyers. Went on to become city council went on to be the youngest person elected to the board of aldermen. There was no city council at that time. It was the board of aldermen in 1968, which was after the death of Dr. King in April of 68. And so students were looking for ways to get involved and make a difference in civil rights. And he and Judge Cooper wanted to help, and they thought the best way for them to do so was go to law school. And went on, he served as city council president from 1981 to 1997. He made an unsuccessful bid to become the mayor of Atlanta in 97, and then served as a judge from 2002 to 2012. And he was a practicing attorney for the entire time that he was on city council, from 68 until the time that he took the bench in 2002. He just turned 82 on February 10th, so real excited that he had that birthday. And the documentary is out. It's available everywhere: Apple TV, Google, YouTube, Amazon Prime. So please check it out. It is a rags to riches story that is an inspirational rags to riches story, because if Marvin Arrington can make it out of the Grady Homes projects and go on to become city council president, run for mayor, serve as a judge in Fulton County, then anyone can. And so thank you, Councilmember Reeves, for allowing me that opportunity, or for asking me that question. We certainly want to share the story with as many different people as we can.
Absolutely. And again, the name of the movie is Bowlegs, and we are going to be having a showing of Bowlegs at this year's Friday Night Live. So please be lookout for what menu that is on, and that's also going to be the DJ battle. So for people who old school and like that, and we're just going to make it fun and exciting. But I do want the opportunity for the people to be able to see it and come together because it's very interesting, and it can take from all the hurdles that they throw in front of you. You just get over them at one at a time. And so, if you had to have the will to survive. Commissioner Arrington, I appreciate you so much, sir, and thank you for all that you do. And we look for more collaboration as you are our commissioner of Fulton County and District 5. And so, and we are the city of South Fulton District 5. So we are the double nickel. So, you know,
The
it's
double nickel. I love it.
right. Yes, indeed. And so it is 7:30, ladies and gentlemen. I do appreciate y'all for coming on and hearing what Mr. Arrington has to say. We're going to piggyback off of those questions. We look forward to getting those, the information they said we'll provide, and we will provide those as well. And remember, November, December, and January, you have input on the county commission's budget. And so all that's going to go in, we're going to remind you, because we do have elections this year and things of that nature. So I look forward for that communication. Well, I love you. You can't do nothing about it. Ms. General Levin, do we have any announcements to make here?
Some questions in the chat that need to be answered.
The
Okay,
biggest
well-
announcement is the fact that we are having the code and police and fire safety meeting tomorrow in Burdette Gym from 6 to 8 p.m. Jacob's Healing Hands will be providing the fresh fruits and vegetables. And I did see those comments, and some of them are for email and a further discussion outside of this meeting.
No,
So-
not the, excuse me, not the one, because that meeting is take place tomorrow or Wednesday. At 2601 Flat Show, and that's that special use permit for that church up there on Flat Show. Somebody trying to get a permit for it. And we tried to call the permit area for the city of South Fulton, never got a response back. Nobody called back. Been calling every day so somebody can give some information on that special permit that they trying to get for that church on, but up there near Flat Shows by Old National. So can somebody tell me what type of permit they trying to get for that property at 2601 Flat
Wait,
Shows?
A permit for, okay, 2601 Flat. Is that what? Is that
That's the church.
2601.
That's that church.
Okay.
That's that same church
Wait,
we
you
had a
talking about the
problem that
landmark
wouldn't cut
church?
yeah, the one
cut
that
the
they wouldn't
grass,
cut the
okay.
grass.
So then they're applying for a special use permit.
That's correct. It's a big sign in
said
the
that-
front.
Right, you said the meeting is where?
The March 22nd, it says on the it says the meeting
that
is
the
on
planning
March
commission?
22nd.
Is that for the planning commission?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's for the planning commission, right?
That's
So,
correct.
okay, so let's send out the information for the planning commission on how y'all can log on to the planning commission meeting as I'll tune in because and then we'll hear what it's about. They're going to propose it to the planning commission, and then the planning commission will decide if it makes it out of the commission and to the up for the council out there for consideration. As we had talked about this last week, and so of how anyway things should follow a process, but based on planning commission. But let's just send out that information and tune in, as I'll tune in as well, just to hear what they're asking and what they're trying to do. And meanwhile, I call my colleague who's over that area and see what have they brought or what does she know about that particular parcel and what they want to utilize it for. I know they have in the past utilized it for film, for movies, for like set location. So it might be one of those cases, but let's see if that's what the case is. And so that's what we can just go from there because I don't have the information they're looking for right now. And so, but we can find out. But thank you for bringing that to our attention. And so,
Well, Councilmember Reeves, I just want to say thank you. I know how active you are and involved, and I appreciate you reaching out to me to make sure that we were present for this. And I was scheduled to do the readathon with you last Friday, and I missed it because I wound up having a court date pop up. But I anticipate being with you for future readathons.
absolutely, and especially shout out to your guy Jarrell, as he did come through and saw the things that was going on, and And I'm just saying, you can, and he's your director of community engagement. And for everybody, his email is in the chat. Is JERELL.SHEARIN@FultonCountyGA.gov. Is his community engagement specialist, and very knowledgeable guy, and very interesting too. He's, so encourage people to reach out to him for community engagement things that they want to do, as that is the contact if you want to reach Commissioner Arrington for any community event that you want to have, and have him come out and participate. And like I said, it's a great representation of you, man, and I appreciate all the work that you do and the work that you're going to continue to do, sir. And so I just look forward to the future and the collaboration. And please, tomorrow at the Safety Summit, there are 2 this week. We have one tomorrow at Burdett, and that's with the police and code enforcement. I would like for everybody to show up and come. And so as we will try to get that word out through the city channels as well. And then there's one Thursday at Friendship Baptist Church, again, with Sheriff Labatt, Police Chief Keith Meadows, and Marvin Arrington, and the District 3 representative, my colleague, Councilwoman Willis. And so as we do have that to talk about, and Mr. Arrington, let me say, y'all do have Fulton County Police, right? And y'all, and what area do they under Fulton County, do they police the entire jurisdiction?
No, they only police Fulton Industrial. I think we've got about 30 police officers that police Fulton Industrial. And the sheriff, I think, does some additional patrols countywide. We are, I'm hopeful that and I don't know if it's happening this year or not, but I know South Fulton got the rest of that land on Fulton Industrial up to I-20. My understanding was that that Atlanta was going to get the other half. And so if they do that, that would make the county fully municipalized. And I don't know that we would get rid of our police department, but we probably would reassign them to other places like our government center, Stonewall Tail, South Annex, the North Annex, and maybe possibly some of the senior centers and other facilities that we have.
Absolutely, sir, and I appreciate that. And but I will ask this, and so as we can keep the conversation going, as can you give us updates at least once a month? And I'm not saying necessarily you personally, I do understand your schedule, but somebody from your administration just come on and give us at least a update on what's going on from the commissioner's office at least once a month.
Yes, definitely. If I'm unavailable, Jarrell should be available. But yes, we want to. We not only do we want to give updates, but we want to receive some updates too. So yes, we want to be there to give them and be there to receive them. Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's called progress, sir, and that's what I'm talking about. Absolutely, and that's what we plan on doing. And again, people, I appreciate all of y'all joining, taking time out of your day to join this call. We are going to go ahead and end. And remember, is that stay positive, and just this is the city you're in, and you are truly the best part of the city of South Fulton and Fulton County.
Hello.
Yes.
Is it possible for me to announce our homelessness symposium Thursday?
No, please.
I would like to invite everyone on this call and in the community to the South Fulton Human Services Coalition Homelessness Symposium, Thursday, March the 23rd, 2:30 till 4:30 p.m. at the Gladys Bernard Library on Flat Shows in Union City off of Old National Highway. We have some speakers who will be addressing the homelessness situation. We see the tents popping up in the woods and off of the expressways in our communities. And a point in time count was done in January by the homeless department for Fulton County. And we want to hear from them and how we can address this situation. We have educators and police who are putting the homeless up in hotels because these people are not committing crimes. They're just homeless, and we need to figure a way to get these people in housing or at least from out of these tents in the woods.
Oh, thank you so much for that. One of the things that we did, Fulton County, and I led the effort, was to buy up a lot of those less desirable hotels on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. And one of the reasons we did that was to address sex trafficking. But the larger goal for me was to try to make some of that available for veterans housing, affordable housing, and homeless housing. And so I just wanted to mention that as well. Hopefully we'll be able to do something in that regard. I think a lot of those hotels have now gone into disrepair. We might have to tear them down because I think the city of South Fulton is getting ready to cite us because they're in bad condition. But I think we're going to be looking at demolishing those. But my goal and my intent was to make sure that we bought those and that we, you know, hopefully could try to repurpose them to address some of those issues.
Yeah, because code enforcement, we're going to be taxing y'all now. We got to make sure, you know, we got to make sure we got to step the code now. But I know it's not on you, but we are, but that veterans housing, you know, and particularly homeless veteran housing, you shared that with me, and I'm just hoping that we can just help you with that to materialize in the way it should be. And so, because we do have a homeless problem, not just here in the city of South Fulton, but throughout the region. And if something's not done, it's going to exacerbate, it's going to expand. And so, but that's another conversation. But however, I do respect the time aspect of it, but that is thank you for the question and thank you for announcing that. And if you can attend this homeless summit to get more information, I think some people will be surprised at what will be happening. And then also reach out to Jacob's Healing House, is that they do have some available as well. As we had that conversation. But there's going to be more of that communication coming in the future. As like I said, Commissioner Arrington said, he liked to give updates and receive updates. So, and we plan on doing just that. But thank you all again. I appreciate it. We're going to end this call now. As just stay positive, stay connected, and stay engaged. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good evening. Yes, sir.
Good evening.